Okay, good day everyone. So last meeting we actually discussed about the intellectual revolutions that define the society. And we look into the different contributions of the scientists in terms of revolutionizing the idea of science. So today class we are moving on to our next topic, which is all about the waves of technology. But before that, class, allow me first to review or revisit what does it mean again when we say technology. So when we talk about technology, class, it is an application of science. So anything, class, that you consider as an application of the ideas of science is considered as technology. And take note, class, that there are two types of technology. We have what is so-called software, and we have also the hardware. So when we talk about software, class, we talk about organization, we talk about the processes that is being involved, and usually these are intangible types of technology. Examples of that are your applications in your mobile phones. On the other hand, class, we talk about hardware, class. These are already the materials, the equipments that are considered tangible. Examples of that are your phones, your computers, your clothes. Those are examples already of hardware technology. Okay? So by the way, class, the waves of technology is being studied, class, using the primary reference, a book written by Alvin Toffler in 1980 entitled The Third Wave. Okay? So let us start first, class, discussing about waves, particularly the wavefront analysis. So when you talk about the wavefront analysis, guys, these are history as succession of wave of change. So when we talk about history as succession, we actually see how technology evolved through time from the primitive era maybe into the modern era. And of course, where will the leading edge take us? Okay, so another one, guys, is that this waves, guys, is being characterized also by, of course, technology. And mind you, class, that technology is a driving force for social change. So by the way, class, when you talk about social change, it actually refers to any significant alteration over time in behavioral patterns and cultural values and norms. So pag sinabi nating social change, class, yan na yung pag-iiba nung kinagawian, nung paniniwala, at ng values ng bawat isa because of the changes or because of the advancement in technology. That's why technology in itself, class, is a very important role in societal change. So by the way, class, there are three waves of technology. So the first one is the agricultural revolution, the next one is the industrial revolution, and the third one is the information revolution, and there's actually a fourth one. And later on, we will be looking into what do you think is the fourth revolution of technology. So now, class, we will be moving now to the different characteristics or the different features of the first wave. So the first feature, class, of the first wave is what we so-called domestication. So when we talk about domestication, class, it is the process of taming, cultivating, and controlling of plants or animals that were originally wild. So usually, class, we oftentimes use the process of selective breeding. Pag sinabi natin selective breeding, particularly are the plants and animals that we could be able to breed, no, for us. And another feature, class, of the agricultural revolution is the farming and irrigation. And mind you, class, what do you think is the reason why there's now a shift from hunting into farming and irrigation? Okay, so since as the population increases, as the population grows, the tendency is that we have what we so-called higher demands in terms of food. So, since hunting cannot already provide all the necessary food and materials maybe for the community, that's why people in the agricultural revolution have already shifted to farming and irrigation. It's because it is a better way in order for the community to provide all their needed resources. Okay, so another feature class of the agricultural revolution is the use of living batteries. So pag sinabi natin living batteries, okay, so it actually utilizes water in order for that turbine to run, and out of that, it actually produces energy. Huh? And then of course, we have also renewable sources of energy. So when it's all about renewable sources class, these are energy resources that can be replenished or it can be replaced over time. And there are different examples of renewable resources to include, we have the water. Meron tayong tinatawag na hydroelectric power plant in Ramon Isabela. Okay? So that is actually class the main source of energy or electricity class in Isabela, your hydroelectric power plant. No? So another one class is your geothermal. So geothermal class is a type of renewable source of energy wherein it generates the heat coming from the interior of the earth in order to produce electricity. We have also solar. It actually uses the heat coming from the sun, and then that heat is being converted into electricity or energy. And of course, we have also your wind. Diba? So we are very we are very well known dun sa ating windmills in Bangi. So they actually utilize the air in order for them to create energy. We have also other resources. Like for example, we have also tidal energy. No, it uses the tides in order to create energy. We have also biomass. So these are some of the questions that I want you to look into. So what was the significance of the invention and improvement of farming implements? So take note class that the significance of this invention and improvement in the farming implements is that it made the work easier and faster. Right? So the next question is that were the producers and the consumers. So basically class, during the agricultural revolution, the producers are also the consumers. They produce and at the same time they consume. So that's just only the cycle. You produce, you consume, you produce, you consume. And the next question is that what are the impacts of agriculture on the environment? So the next slide will tell us about that. So alam natin class that the very first characteristics of the agricultural revolution is domestication. Right? And because of domestication class, nagkaroon tayo ng tinatawag nating food security. Because of food security class, nagkaroon ng population growth. And because of this population growth class, of course, they have also always to find for settlements or a place that they have to live. And because of that class, this is now the effect of the agricultural revolution in the environment. So, nagkaroon tayo ng tinatawag nating water problem, nagkaroon tayo ng increased disease, and of course, nagkaroon din tayo ng tinatawag nating issues of resource distribution. So, bakit ba nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag natin ng issues of resource distribution? It is because population grows exponentially while resources grows geometrically. Ibig sabihin, if the population here now is 1 and the resource is 1, okay lang yan. The next year, yung population mo 2, if you are going to do it exponentially, 1 is to 1 is 1, and then 2 is to 2, that will become now 4. Pero yung geometrically class, that is 1 plus 1 like that. So therefore, yung 4 na population growth mo, you just have only 2 here as the resource. So therefore, basically, yung 4 na population mo is not actually enough on that 2 resource material. And that is now actually one also of the problems that we are now encountering, no? Because of the scarcity of the resources that we have, we tend now to destroy or deplete, no, the environment just to provide for the things that we need. Okay? So, other important things, guys, that we have also to note on the first wave is that take note, guys, that land is the basis of economy. It's also the basis of culture, and it is the basis of power. And mind you, class, that the economy, class, in the agricultural revolution is decentralized. So when we talk all about decentralized, class, each different guilds or each different strata is responsible for its own operation. So there is actually no central government or central area that limits, okay, the operation of these things. Kaya po dito, makikita natin may mga artisan guilds tayo at there's of course stratification. So as you can see, class, these are the stratification. At the lower portion are the peasants and slaves and workers, and at the upper portion are actually the elite. And mind you, class, that work is equal actually to labor. And majority of the things that we utilize during the agricultural revolution are actually animals. Okay? So let's move on now, class, to the second wave. And like what I've stated a while ago, the second wave is the Industrial Revolution. And the Industrial Revolution, class, happened during the 18th to 19th centuries. Okay? So what are now, class, the reasons why there's now a shift from agricultural revolution into industrial revolution? So the first factor, class, is the discovery of new worlds. Since there's now what is called expansion of knowledge, expansion of ideas, so there's actually what is so-called shift. Okay? The second one is there's also what is so-called population growth. So how the population growth now shifted agricultural to industrial revolution? Simple lang. Habang dumadami ang populasyon, dumadami ang pangangailangan natin. If the environment cannot produce it, so therefore we have to find ways on how to provide for our needs. And of course, the next one is that there is no pressure on timber forests, and it prompted more use of coal. And last but not the least, class, the very reason why there's now a shift from the agricultural to the industrial revolution is the invention of the steam engine, class, by James Watt. Okay? So, ayan. Aha. So, as you can see, that is the steam engine, class. Okay? Discovered by James Watt. So, there are, of course, different characteristics also of the second wave of technology, which is the Industrial Revolution. We have the factory model. That's the model of efficiency. Tingnan lang natin. Ayan. So, that's the factory model, class. Since nagkaroon ng population growth, nagkaroon ng increase in the need, nagkaroon tayo ng tinatawag nating mass need. So therefore, nagkaroon din ng mass production. At since nagkaroon ng mass production, nagkaroon ng mass consumption. And because of mass consumption, nagkaroon ng mass merchandising, and of course, nagkaroon din ng mass education. Okay? So, let's just look into here. How did the Industrial Revolution change the environment? Yeah. Scale of resource use and pollution generation. So, the very big impact, class, of the Industrial Revolution, particularly in the environment, is that, of course, since there is now what we so-called greater demand on energy, greater demand on resources, nagkaroon tayo ng tinatawag nating massive resource use. And because of this massive resource use, class, we tend now to generate pollution. No? So, that's now actually the main effect of the Industrial Revolution. So, kung titingnan natin, class, as we can see in the table here, or in the graph here, there's actually a considerable increase in terms of the production of greenhouse gases, particularly the carbon dioxide, particularly in the year 2000. No? So, another feature that you have also to note in terms of the Industrial Revolution, how did the Industrial Revolution change production and consumption? So, differentiation. So pag sinabi natin differentiation, there are already different jobs. Kung noon, we only focus on farming, but because of the change in the waves of technology, from farming, nagkaroon na tayo ng tinatawag nating different jobs. Okay? And mind you that producers before are also consumers in the agricultural revolution. Ngayon, producers, okay, sometimes are not already the consumers. For example, pinoproduce ko ganito, hindi ko naman kailangan ng ganito. No? So that's actually it, class. So talagang sabi ko, there is actually mass production. Okay? So how did the Industrial Revolution change education now? So in the West, raise the needs for basic education. So dito, class, they already emphasize on literacy and numeracy. So we have also overt curriculum. Pag sinabi natin overt curriculum, it includes basic reading, writing, arithmetic, history, and others. Well, covert curriculum, class, we have punctuality, obedience, rote, and repetitive work. So the Industrial Revolution, class, changed the education in such a way, class, that they are not already focusing, class, on the covert curriculum. Rather, they are now focusing on overt curriculum, which talks about the 4 R's, the reading, writing, and the 3 R's, rather, the reading, the writing, and arithmetic. So how did the Industrial Revolution also change the families? So factors needed workers, especially those willing to move place to place as needed. So kung before, nandun ka lang sa isang area, ngayon, you have now to shift from one place to another depending on the need, right? So the key functions of the family were delegated to institutions. So dito nagsimula before ang education sa agricultural revolution, nandun lang sa bahay. Pero because of the second wave, which is the industrial revolution, education now, class, is delegated to schools. The care for elderly now, class, is delegated to nursing homes. No? And that is now the reason why we have now the streamlined nuclear family. So pag sinabi natin nuclear family, it's a type of family wherein nandun si nanay, tatay, anak, nandun din yung asawa ng anak, nandun din yung apo. No? That's what is called nuclear family, class. Okay? So these are some of the beliefs, class, of the second wave. Nature as a resource to be exploited, man in opposition with nature and dominating it. So, yan yung naging thinking natin on the second wave. So, sabi natin, ang nature daw ay resource to be exploited, pero no. Resource should never be exploited. It is because ours is a finite earth. Lahat ng bagay ay may hangganan. Okay? And man in opposition with nature and dominating it. Though we are actually above the nature, or though we are actually above all the resources, it is still our prime responsibility to take good care of the nature. No? And then the second one is that humans as pinnacle of evolution. Industrialized societies as superior. So dito, class, we talk about the humans as a pinnacle of evolution. Ibig sabihin that we are actually the topmost part. It is because, of course, yes, it is because humans are the only, organism that is capable of thinking, right? And take note, guys, that in the second wave, class, industrial societies as superior. So if you are not an highly industrialized society, class, then you are superior. Kaya nga, yung mga superior na mga society ngayon, class, are those highly industrialized societies. Okay? And then, of course, we have the progress principle. History flows irreversibly towards a better life. Ibig sabihin ng history flows irreversibly towards a better life. Ibig sabihin, as we move along, as we progress along, class, we tend to move higher and higher and higher and higher, and it could never be reversed. Hindi pwedeng higher tapos bigla kang bababa. No, it's just only continuously moving upwards. Okay? So, let's move on. So, and then another belief, class, is that biosphere cannot assimilate always. Of course, the biosphere cannot assimilate all the waste that is being generated by humans. no? So it's actually the end of cheap energy. So bakit tinawag nating end of cheap energy here? It is because before, farming lang tayo. Before, ginagamit lang natin yung mga farm implements that doesn't actually use gasoline or that doesn't use actually natural gas or oil. Pero in the Industrial Revolution kasi class, it already started to use those materials. No? So nagkaroon tayo ng tinatawag nating usage already of coal, oil, and natural gas. And we believe class that these are not cheap energy resource. Rather, these are actually, ano tawag dito? Mahal to class na energy resource. No? So, that's also the end of cheap materials. And we have also the disintegrating pressure within the system. Okay. So, that's actually the Industrial Revolution class. So, I just want to emphasize, guys, that the main reason why there is a shift from the agricultural into the Industrial Revolution class is the discovery of the steam engine by James Watt. And it actually enabled already all other inventions. So let's move on now, class, to the third wave. So the third wave now, class, is known as the information or the knowledge age. So how has technology evolved? Diba? So the second question is that how has this affected our relationship with each other and with the environment? Okay? So these are key things that we're going to discuss. How has technology evolved from agricultural to industrial and eventually to the information age? No? Ano ba yung mga key features na pwede nating makita in the information age? First, we could be able to see that's now the birth of wireless fidelity or Wi-Fi. That's the birth now of the different gadgets and resources that we are using now. No? And what do you think now, class, is the main effect of this wave, no? In terms of our relationship with each other and with the environment. So later on, siguro balikan natin ang tanong na yan and let's look into how it changed really our relationship. But mind you, first class, we'll be dealing first in terms of the features of the third wave. So the third wave, class, and integration of more functions into fewer parts. What does it mean, class, when we say integration, class, of more function into fewer parts? For example, I'll give you the thing that you are seeing now is a cell phone, right? It's just a single material, but it can actually perform valid functions. It can be used for texting, for music, for compass, right? For camera, for videos. Right, diba? Isipin nyo yun. Nag-iisang material lang siya, but it could be able to do a lot of things. And that's actually the feature of the information age. Next. So another feature is that there is what is so-called here. We have massification, standardization. So sa massification and standardization, that's actually prominent in the second wave. We have now differentiation and customization in the third wave. Diba isipin mo ngayon, dati mass production, standardized dapat. Ngayon kasi no, there's already what is so-called differentiation. Diba? Like for example, kung dati ang alam lang natin, for example, na cellphone is your Nokia. Ngayon, di ba, ang dami na. Sometimes it is being customized pa. Diba? So kaya, ang dami nang lumalabas ngayon ng customized materials and products. Per products as well means of work. So before, kung sa agricultural, nandun ka lang sa bahay, nasa farm, pagdating ng industrial, you have now to move from one place to another. No? Dito sa third wave na to, flexible na siya. Pwedeng nasa bahay ka lang, pwedeng nandun ka sa workplace mo. So there's what we call flexibility in terms of work arrangement. And next, ito, value placed on multiple intelligences and competencies. So one of the things, class, that is a feature also of the third wave is that before we value more on single intelligence, pero dito, class, we value now on the multiple intelligences. So pag sinabi natin multiple intelligence, we have of course visual intelligence, we have what is called kinesthetic, intrapersonal, interpersonal. We have what is so-called naturalistic, right? We have musical, we have logical, right? So these are actually now the things that is being seen in the third wave, since there's already massive spread of information and knowledge, no? So, another feature, prosumers. Pag sinabi natin prosumers, guys, producers are consumers and vice versa. So, ibig sabihin na do it yourself. Diba? Pwede kang producer and at the same time, consumer ka din. Or consumer ka and at the same time, producer ka din. So, that's actually the meaning of prosumers, class. Okay, how far have we come? No? Saan na ba tayo? So, sabi ni Ken Olsen, there is no reason for any individual to have a computer in his home. Tama naman. No? Baka sabihin nyo sa akin, so wala pa akong computer sa bahay. Don't you know that your cell phone is actually the simplest type of computer in itself? No? Sabi ni Bill Gates, 640 KB ought to be enough for anybody. Okay? So, hindi lang. Ngayon, sometimes we extend even up to terabytes already. So, it is because of the information or the knowledge age. That's why we have already extended our capabilities and minimize our limitations. Naniniwala kayo doon? How? How we have already extended our capabilities and minimize our limitations? Simple lang. Diba? If before, we have what is called snail mails, we have telegrams, and it will take us how many months before the message will be received. Pero ngayon, in just a click of a finger, you could be able to reach the other part of the world. And in nature class, the information revolution makes the world smaller. Bakit? Kasi, di ba, mag-load ka lang dyan, mag-data ka lang dyan, o video call, kahit nasa ang parte ng mundo. Right? Hindi lang yan. We try to look into other things now. Di ba? So, kung noon, hanggang call lang, ngayon, pwede mo siyang makita face-to-face na. So, truly, class, the information age have extended our capabilities. We tend to gain deeper understanding. We gain to have a widened knowledge about the things around us. It is because of the different inventions and the different technological gadgets and advancement that we have today. And you know, we have already also minimized our limitations. Right? So, ibig sabihin yan, class, I just want to emphasize that technology in itself, class, has made our lives better, has provided us different avenues to become better people. It actually extended your horizon, and at the same time, it actually minimized your limitations. So, ibig sabihin, sana walang rason para hindi po natin magawa yung mga bagay na dapat natin gawin. It is because everything is already in the repository. Everything is already in the disposal. Ibig sabihin, parang ganito lang yan eh. It's just like, parang wala nang problema. Nandiyan si Google, di ba? Nandiyan si internet, nandiyan si cellphone, nandiyan si computer, nandiyan yung mga bagay na yan, di ba? So, kung dati-dati, it will take you time to harvest your product. Ngayon, it will just only need you some time to harvest your product because of, yung mga combined treasure natin na yan. Right? So, technology in itself have actually enabled us to become better. Sana. No? So, the third wave brings with it genuinely new way of life based on diversified, renewable energy sources and methods of production that make most factory assembly lines obsolete. Non-nuclear families and radically change the schools and corporations of the future. Okay. So, the emergent civilization write a new code of behavior for us and carries beyond standardization, synchronization, and centralization beyond the concentration of energy, money, and power. Kaya nga parang sinasabi natin, because of technology, abot mo ang mundo. Abot mo lahat ng bagay na gusto mo. Right? Isipin niya yan, overlaps in technology. Right? So, drones can detect crop problems or retrieve farmers on tracks. Isipin mo yun? Hindi po na magpalipat ka lang ng drone dyan and then later on it will detect ano bang problema. Then later, pag nakuha mo ng problema, you do research, and after that, you try to apply things on that and then problem solved. No? So, class, no? Just have to sum it up now that technology is really a major force of social change. And of course, yeah, change in personal attitudes and beliefs. Don't you know that technology have actually changed our mindset, it actually changed our behavior, and it actually changed our values. It's just like this parang kung noon bawal ito, ngayon hindi na bawal. Right? Kung noon hindi ayos to, ngayon ayos na to. Pero I just want you to look into that technology should not change your morality. Technology should not override or overdrive you. No? Technology should not be a way for you to be destroyed. Rather, technology should be a way for you to become better persons. Kasi yung nangyayari, di ba? It's because of technology. For example, the addiction on ML, addiction on YouTube, addiction on Facebook. Na nangyayari? We tend to become lazy. Lazy at home, lazy in terms of the things that we do bilang mga estudyante. No? Naging tamad na tayo dahil din sa mga napapanood natin. No nangyayari, we tend to change our cultural norms. Hindi pa noon, bawal actually ang sigawan mo. Sumisigaw ka na sa magulang mo. But, I hope that since nasabi natin kanina that we are the pinnacle of success, it is pinnacle of the evolution, rather, it is important that we have to look into our technological usage, that it will not override us and it will not control us. Rather, you should be the one to control technology and you should be the one to override technology. Huwag mong hayaan na baguhin ka ng technological advancement. Bagkus, use this technological advancement in order for you to become better. No? There's also change in our relationships. Yung mga sinasabi ko sa inyo, di ba? Parang ngayon, lahat na lang virtual Right? May friend ko siya sa Facebook, but not in personal. Right? Nagsashatan kami lagi niyan, but not in personal. So, before, parang tipo na sobrang close kayo sa isa't isa. It is because wala pa nung cellphone. Pero pansinin nyo ngayon, di ba? Pag pumunta kayo kumain, anong hawak? Cellphone. Kapag pumunta kayo nagmon, anong hawak? Cellphone. Di ba? Gan are those days wherein everyone is very close. Di ba? Kaya, sometimes it's just so good na pwede mong balikan yung mga nakaraan wherein that is the time class. That you try to, anong tawag dito? That you try to look into, walang cellphone, hindi pa na magkukwentuhan lang kayo, good talk, hindi pa napapasyal lang kayo. Right? So, I hope technology will never change your relationships. No? Kapag tayo ng banding, off muna lahat. Off lahat ng technological gadgets. And change the social structures also. Right? So, and then of course, see. Okay, so let's just move on now as technology as an indicator of development. So, we have actually level of technology plus technological autonomy. So, kung titignan natin yung class, that's the global technology map. And the dark blue there indicates a highly technological country, while the light blue there indicates a lower technological autonomy. No? So, kung titignan natin, nandun yung Pilipinas, tama ako, para siyang hindi naman siya lighter blue, pero nandun siya, siguro nandun tayo sa around between 50 to 60 in terms of our technological autonomy. So, we have actually a term known as technological autonomy. And when we talk all about technological autonomy class, it is the capacity of a certain country to decide which technology to import and develop. So, pag sinabi natin technological autonomy, yan yung kapasidad ng isang bansa kung ano ang technological inventions or materials that they have to import and develop. And there's a certain question here, what determines technological autonomy now? So, technological autonomy class is equal to, of course, the very first one, well-established tech infrastructures, and then the second one class is trained manpower. So, we could be able class to say that we have technological autonomy if and only if class we have that well-established technological infrastructure, particularly universities and research and development laboratories. So far naman sa Philippines, we have different R&D laboratories that is looking into different specialization. And at the same time, another feature of trained economy is that we should have trained manpower. Of course, we have R&D laboratories, and at the same time, you should have also trained manpower. Those full of expert that will go through research and development. No? So, ayan. So, ang problema natin, we are a less developed country, no? So, in terms of technological autonomy, we are not that standing as a giant or standing autonomous, no? So, what about less developed countries? So, ngayon class, we are trying to look into different opportunities of learning, and I hope time will come, no? Some one of you could be able to be part of maybe the OST, be part of the PWH or any other agencies that could be able to find for technological materials that will aid in the development of a better life in the Philippines. Okay? So I hope na yung lahat ng mga napapag-aralan natin ay hanggang hindi lamang sa utak, because there should always be an application in order for our country to become a better country. So ngayon, that's actually the last slideshow. But tulad ng sabi ko kanina, I just have a certain question to all of you. No? Sabi ko, what do you think, class, is the fourth wave of the waves of technology? So there are actually different readings that I have already read, and according to my readings, the fourth wave of waves of technology should be the environmental revolution. So, bakit kaya tinitignan nila na ang fourth wave naman ng technology natin now is the environmental revolution? It is because, we have now widespread problem. Global warming, ozone depletion, climate change, right? Disasters, calamities are there. And sometimes it is important for all of us to really look into how to be able to mitigate things like this, no? And by looking into environmental revolution in itself, it is all about our ways and means in preserving and in terms of conserving our environment. Tandaan natin that we are the highest of all evolution. At sana, huwag natin kalimutan that we are stewards of nature. We are stewards of the creation of God. Ibig sabihin, it is our innate responsibility to take good care of the environment. That's why, siguro sabi nila, it should be environmental education, because we are always trying to find the ways in order for us to save our planet Earth. And, for example, we do have the pandemic right now, right? We have the COVID-19. And, I'm not saying that COVID-19 is good. But, if we try to look into, there are some possible good things that happened during the pandemic. And one of that is that it is actually mother's way of restoring itself. Diba? Pansinin nyo yung Metro Manila before, diba? Yung tipo na dahil sa sobrang pollution, sa overdevelopment, you know, diba? Hindi mo na nakikita. Pero ngayon, you know, if you go to a higher area, you could be able to observe one place into another. No? And it's a visible place now. So, ladies and gentlemen, yung mga estudyante ko dyan, environmental revolution. We look into our best ways and effort to save the environment. There are smaller things, but smaller things are ways in order for our environment to be safe. And mind you, class, yung pagsasegregate mo lang ng mga waste mo dyan, yung hindi mo pagtatapon ng basura kung saan is already a way for you. No? Conserving of energy is already a way for our environment to be safe. So, tandaan mo, you are stewards of God's creation. Alagaan po natin ang environment. That's why I do agree with the fourth wave of technology, which is all about the environmental revolution. So, that is all about our topic about the ways of technology. If you have some sort of question, don't be hesitant. Just ask it on our GC. And later on, class, I will answer you. Okay? So, tulad ng sabi ko, iiwan ko dito sa inyo, mag-aral ng mabuti para buhay ay bumuti. At the end of the day, it is not about me, but it is all about you. No? So, with that, keep safe and God bless everyone. Bye-bye!